He fed two crystal creatures. Minutes later, an alien empire put humanity on trial. The aliens thought humans were fragile scouts, mere pests on the galactic fringe, until one fed a shard of ancient power and shattered an empire's veil. They never expected a lone man with a dry ration to judge a civilization's soul. Kale Aron crouched in the lee of a jagged outcrop on Airlift 3, his scarred hands adjusting the recorder strapped to his tactical vest. At 32, with 8 years in the Galactic Exploration Force, he was a lean figure under the dual suns, short-cropped dark hair dusted white by the toxic sands, eyes sharp behind polarized lenses, body honed by orphan grit and military drills. The border outpost, a prefab dome 150 kilometers from base, hummed faintly against the wind's roar. The desert stretched 5,000 square kilometers, a blinding expanse of crystalline sand that refracted the twin suns into poisonous rainbows. Winds averaged 80 kilometers per hour, whipping through rock fissures to produce a raw, harmonic wail, like a choir of ghosts scraping stone. Kale preferred this isolation. His team had pulled back hours ago, but he lingered, recorder capturing the gale's frequencies from 20 Hz to 15 kHz. Data for analysis, sure, but mostly for the peace it brought his wired mind. 45 minutes into the sample, movement caught his eye. Two small entities, each 10 centimeters long, shimmered like living crystals 5 meters away. Their forms pulsed faintly, bodies translucent and fractured, emitting weak sonic pulses at 300 Hz, signals of distress, starvation after wind energy depletion. Kale froze. He recalled the 2147 incident on neighboring Epsilon 4. Alien critters had triggered a cascade, killing 200 colonists in a bioplague. Protocol screamed quarantine, but these things trembled, their light dimming. Kale's hand dipped into his pack, pulling his last 50 grams of algae rations, enough calories for 2 days. Orphan instincts kicked in. He'd shared scraps in the slums before the force recruited him. He crumbled the bar, tossing fragments their way. "Not my brightest move," he muttered, voice low against the wind. The creatures absorbed it, structures shifting to ingest, brightness surging to 200 lumens. A grateful chime rang out, bell-like, lasting 10 seconds. The sky cracked open. A sonic boom hit 120 dB, slamming Kale to his knees. 3 obsidian pillars, each 50 meters tall, plunged from orbit 2 kilometers out, impacting with a 4.5 magnitude quake. Dust plumes erupted, the ground heaving like a beast awakening. Kyle's comms fritzed in a 500-meter radius, static drowning his curses. Golden black light lanced from the pillars, sword-like beams 10 meters long encircling him. They hummed with lethal energy, forming a cage that singed the air. Kyle rolled behind a boulder, pulse rifle unslung in a fluid motion. Force training at work. "I just wanted to hear the wind sing, not invite a fleet to the party," he quipped to himself, dark humor cutting the stress. Winds spiked to 120 kilometers h, visibility dropping to 20 meters as sand whipped like shrapnel. He peered out. The central pillar projected a hologram, Arctan Veil, an Elorian Archon, towering at 3 meters in energy-cloaked robes that glittered like fractured stars. Its voice resonated at 150 Hz, cold and ritualistic. "Human scout, you are marked by the twin shards. They belong to the Elorian conquered. Surrender them or face ancient decree." Kale blinked, confusion spiking. Twin shards. The creatures now huddled in his vest pocket emitted a soft protective wave, countering the pillar's field. He hadn't named them yet, but the term fit. "What the hell are you talking about? I fed some strays, that's all." 20 light soldiers materialized, robotic enforcers 2 meters tall, armed with 5-kilometer plasma rifles. They formed a 10-meter radius circle, barrels tracking his every twitch. One wrong step, and he'd be vapor. The desert shifted hue, white sands blackened by obsidian bleed, temperature climbing to 45 degrees Celsius. Sweat soaked Kale's fatigues, endurance dropping 20% in minutes, human limits tested against alien tech. Arctan elaborated, hologram flickering with archival data. The twin shards are root ciphers, keys from a pre-Elorian era 10,000 years past. They command atmospheric control over 1 million square kilometers. Your bond via sustenance violates the 2205 Accord, no interference with relics. Kale negotiated, drawing on alliance protocols drilled into him. This was accidental, no intent to claim. Let's talk terms. Humanity respects boundaries. But Arcton scanned him bio-wise, detecting the link. Irrelevant. Bonding confirmed. Bow or perish with 99.7% conviction probability. The Archon's tone was mechanical, an AI ritual enforcer devoid of mercy. A soldier fired, plasma bolts scorching 30 cm from Kale's boot. He dodged, but the shards reacted, pulsing at 500 hertz, disrupting the field. Interference crackled, one robot staggered. Kale exploited the gap, lobbing a grenade that bloomed into EMP chaff, downing 2 units in sparks. From the storm's edge, a sonic blast shattered the line. A sleek sand skimmer, 4 meters long, burst through, piloted by a figure in Elorian gear. "Get on!" she barked, voice cutting the chaos. Kale leaped aboard as waves neutralized 5 more soldiers in 10 seconds. The vehicle accelerated to 60 km/h, weaving south through the gale. The driver, Celine Var, a 28-year-old Elorian Guardian lieutenant, glanced back, her features sharp, eyes glowing faintly under a hooded cloak. "You're the fool who fed the root cipher. Now we're both hunted." Kale gripped the rail, shards chiming softly in his pocket. Winds howled in pursuit, but for the first time he felt the stir of something bigger, a human spark igniting galactic fire. The Elorians had underestimated a scout's kindness. Now empires would tremble. As they fled 20 kilometers south, Celine spilled intel. "Those shards activate the wind opera, an ancient machine to purge 80% of Airlith's sulfide toxins. The Concord wants a monopoly, turn the planet into a 10-million-ton quarry in 5 years." Kyle nodded, piecing it. Her conflict showed, raised to guard Elorian's knowledge, yet doubting its lockdown. "Protecting means hoarding?" she murmured, echoing her academy roots. Dunes rose 50 meters, winds at 100 km/h hampering speed. They stopped twice for repairs, Kale's jury-rigged fixes on the sonic drive. Trust built via her shared maps. The opera is buried 1 kilometer deep, 50 kilometers ahead. Shards guided with 400, 600 hertz echoes, cracking 2-meter fissures to evade orbital radars at 300-kilometer altitude. Drones, 3 at 150 km/h, swooped in. Kale fired his plasma pistol, downing 2, ammo at 50%. "Not my first chait," he grunted. Celine shared her break, witnessing a 2218 toxin disaster, killing 500 of her kin, exposing Concord's lies. "I can't let it repeat." They reached the cavern mouth. Shards resonated, unlocking ancient seals in a 30-second symphony. Descent beckoned, Elorian forces closing. Kale clung to the sand skimmer's rail as Celine gunned it across the jagged dunes, the machine's sonic drive humming at 250 hertz to slice through 100 km/h headwinds. The desert, blackened by obsidian bleed, shimmered under Airlith 3's twin suns, heat spiking to 45 to Shurn. His tactical vest chafed, sweat stung his eyes, but his grip stayed iron. Force training kept him steady. Celine's cloak flared behind her, its Elorian weave glinting like liquid crystal, her movements precise despite the chaos. The twin shards nestled in Kel's pocket, pulsed faintly, their 300 hertz hum a quiet defiance against the pursuing storm. Behind them, the obsidian pillars loomed, their golden-black beams cutting visibility to 20 meters. Kel's comms were dead, jammed in a 500-meter radius by the pillar's field. He scanned the horizon. 3 Elorian drones, sleek and angular, screamed in at 150 km/h, their scanners locking on. "Company," he growled, unholstering his plasma pistol. With only 50% ammo left, each shot had to count. He fired twice, blue bolts cracking the air, downing 2 drones in bursts of molten slag. The third veered off, its signal screeching for backup. Celine swerved, dodging a fissure 2 meters wide. "They're not here for tea," she snapped, voice sharp over the wind's wail. "The Concord wants the shards. They're root ciphers, keys to the wind opera, a relic from 10,000 years ago. It can reshape 1 million square kilometers of atmosphere." Her words carried weight, tinged with doubt, as if reciting a doctrine she no longer fully believed. Kale's mind raced, piecing it together. The shards, those fragile crystal creatures, were no straws. They were tech beyond human or Alorian grasp. He felt their warmth in his pocket, their protective waves countering the pillar's energy. "So I fed the galaxy's most wanted snacks," he quipped, dark humor masking his unease. "What's the Concorde's play?" Celine's eyes flicked to him, glowing faintly under her hood. "Control. They'll mine Airlith 3 dry, 10 million tons of ore a year, starting in 5 years. The Opera could stop the toxins, save billions of cubic meters of air, but they'd rather hoard it." Her grip tightened on the controls, betraying her conflict. "I was raised to guard their secrets, but this is wrong." They hit a dune ridge, 50 meters high, and the skimmer lurched. Kale braced, helping Celine recalibrate the sonic drive in 30 seconds flat, his slum-bred knack for fixes shining through. The shards chimed, guiding them with 400 hertz pulses through a narrow canyon, dodging orbital radar sweeps from 300-kilometer up. Celine's map, projected from her wrist device, showed the Wind Opera's entrance 50 kilometers south, buried a kilometer deep. A new threat pinged: 5 Alorian light soldiers, 2-meter robots with 5-kilovolt plasma rifles, dropped from a stealth craft 10 kilometers back. Their formation was tight, cutting off escape routes. Celine pushed the skimmer to 80 kilometers, but the terrain fought back, rocky outcrops forcing 2 stops for repairs. Kale's pulse rifle hummed, ready, but Celine waved him off. "Save it. We're close." She wasn't wrong. The shard's pulses spiked to 600 hertz, cracking a hidden seam in a cliff face. The skimmer slid into a tunnel, sealing behind them with a grinding thud. Darkness swallowed them, broken only by the shard's faint glow, now split into 50 fragments, each casting 100 lumens to light the path. The air cooled to 20 thurs, a relief from the surface inferno, and the tunnel's stone walls bore spiral carvings, ancient, alien, whispering balance. Celine slowed the skimmer, her voice low. "This is the antechamber to the Wind Opera. It's been buried for 15,000 years, built by a race we barely understand. The Concord knew about it for 50 years and hid it, letting 1,000 locals die from toxins." Her fingers grazed her Alorian badge, a reflex of loyalty warring with betrayal. Kyle caught the gesture, sensing her fracture. "You're risking everything," he said, not accusing, just stating a fact. "I saw 500 of my people choke in 18, she replied, eyes hard. "The Concord called it collateral. I call it murder." Her words cut like a blade, exposing the rot in her empire's dogma. The tunnel widened into a cavern, 200 meters high, its crystalline tiers like an ancient auditorium. The Wind Opera loomed, a vast machine of stone and light, its core humming at 50 hertz, ready to sing. Cal's recorder pinged, capturing the frequency, but a tremor shook the floor. A trap triggered, a 10-ton slab dropping from above. Celine reacted, her sonic gauntlet flaring, emitting a 250 hertz pulse that shattered the stone into dust. Cal shielded her instinctively, his body between her and the debris, loyalty forming fast under pressure. "Nice trick," he grunted, brushing dust off his vest. "I'm not here to play hero. Just listen to the wind." But his actions said otherwise, his slum kid instincts binding him to her cause. They pressed on, the shard's fragments weaving a 3D hologram, blueprint of the Opera, capable of cleansing 1 billion cubic meters of gas per hour. Drones buzzed outside, 5 Alorian trackers with high-res cams closing in. Kyle aimed, but the shards pulsed at 500 hertz, frying their circuits in a 2-minute skirmish. Sparks rained, and the cavern fell silent. At the chamber's heart stood a control dais, 3 meters tall, its crystalline interface pulsing faintly. Kyle climbed it, the shards humming in his pocket, ready to slot into the ancient lock. Celine grabbed his arm. "If you activate this, Airlith 3 lives, 95% chance. But the Concorde will brand it treason. You're risking 10,000 human lives here." Kyle froze, hand hovering over the dais. His family's death in the 2210 war flashed, sacrificed for alliance politics. Justice burned hotter than safety. "I'm not here to kneel," he said, voice steady. "You with me or them?" Celine's badge gleamed, her past pulling hard. "I was taught to lock knowledge away," she whispered. but locking it kills more than it saves. She let go, stepping back, her choice unmade but teetering. The shards stirred, splitting into 100 glowing pieces, forming a 1-meter sphere. Their hum rose to 80 dB, a choral surge. "This is not Kale's trial," they sang, voices layered like a galactic jury. "Celine Var, you are judged." Kale's jaw dropped. The shards weren't tools. They were the court. Celine paled, her badge slipping from her fingers. The cavern shook, the opera's hum spiking. Time was running out. Celine staggered back from the glowing sphere, her glowing eyes wide under the hood. The twin shards' choral voice echoed through the cavern, walls vibrating at 50 hertz. "You are the one on trial, Celine Var. Your civilization's balance hangs by your choice." Kale stood frozen on the dais, hands still hovering over the interface. The shards, now 100 fragments in a 1-meter orb, pulsed with judgment. Ancient arbiters, not mere keys. The air thickened with sulfide scent, temperature creeping to 30 degrees as energy built. She clutched her cloak, badge discarded on the crystal floor. "This can't be. I'm a guardian, not the accused." Her voice cracked, academy training clashing with the revelation. Kyle lowered his hand, stepping down. "They're right. You've been playing both sides. Time to pick." His tone was firm. No judgment, just fact, honed by years of scouting fringes where trust meant survival. The cavern rumbled again. Hologram feeds flickered on the walls. Elorian reinforcements inbound, 50 soldiers 10 kilometers out, closing at 100 kilometers H. Arkin's voice boomed from orbit. "Traitor detected. Secure the cipher." Drones hummed outside the sealed door, their high-res cams probing for weak points. Kyle unslung his rifle, checking ammo, down to 50%. "We hold here. Talk it out while I buy time." Celine nodded, uneasy pact forming. She activated her gauntlet, syncing with the shard's hum to reinforce the entrance. Waves at 400 hertz rippled out, cracking 2 incoming drones mid-air. Kyle fired through a slit, plasma bolts dropping another, sparks illuminating the tiers like fallen stars. "Tell me why you saved me," he said between shots. "Not for kicks." She leaned against the dais, gauntlet humming. "I was posted to monitor relics. Saw the Concorde's plans, exploit Airlith 3, displace 5,000 locals for ore yields. 10 million tons a year, they said. Profit over life." Her words spilled fast, as if unloading a burden. Kale glanced back, human empathy kicking in despite the chaos. "Sounds like our old wars. Greed kills quiet." The shards expanded, fragments to 200, projecting holograms of history, 15 civilizations judged before, fall into hoarding. Choose. Loyalty to the Concorde means planetary ruin, 70% odds in a decade. Side with the human, betray your kin. Celine's face twisted, recalling academy days. Knowledge is power, drilled into her from youth, but power as control, not aid. She fired a sonic burst, disabling 3 more drones in 10 seconds. Cal covered her flank, lobbing an EMP grenade that bloomed silent, frying circuits. "I fed those things on instinct. Orphan habit. Share what little you have. Didn't expect this circus." His dark humor surfaced, easing the tension. Celine managed a grim smile. "Humans and your compassion. It's disruptive." Trust built in the firefight, her data pad sharing maps of the opera's core, buried deeper. 1 kilometer down, we pushed through. They moved, shards guiding with 600 hertz chains, opening a side passage. The tunnel sloped sharply, air cooling to 20 degrees in, walls etched with whirl symbols, balance incarnate. Celine shared more. In 18, toxins wiped out 500 Elorians. Concord blamed nature, not their secrecy. I doubted then. Kale nodded, rifle sweeping shadows. "Lost my family in the 2210 skirmish. Alliance politics made me value truth over flags. A trap sprung, a stone slab, 10 tons slamming down." Kale shoved Celine aside, his body taking the graze, shoulder bruising. She countered with a 250 hertz pulse, shattering it. "You shielded me," she said, helping him up. "Why?" He shrugged. "Teamwork. We're in this now." The axe sealed it, an uneasy alliance forged in action. human grit inspiring her shift. Deeper, the passage widened to a hall, 200 meters high. Tiers of crystal seats like an amphitheater lost to time. Shards reformed, illuminating a 3D blueprint. Opera mechanics, purging billions of cubic meters hourly. The conquered new 50-year, Celine admitted. Hit it, let 1,000 die. Her voice hardened, loyalty fraying. Alorian soldiers breached the outer door, 20 strong, plasma fire echoing. Kale set up a choke point, rifle barking efficiently, down 3 in bursts. Celine flanked with sonic waves, neutralizing 5. We can't hold forever, she warned. Shards chimed. The trial demands a decision. Stand with the human or fall with your kin. She hesitated, gauntlet faltering. Kale's words cut through. Kindness starts small, like algae crumbs, blows up into change. Inspired by his simple act, she chose. I'm with you. She smashed her badge underfoot, alliance solid. Together they repelled the wave, a 2-minute clash leaving wrecks smoking. The shards approved, sphere contracting. Proceed to the core. They advanced, bond tested and true, human resolve turning alien doubt to defiance. Forces massed above, but below, a new front opened. Celine led to the central dais, 3 meters tall. Interface was waiting. Activate and war comes, she said. Kyle nodded. Better truth than lies. But the shards stirred again, ready for the next phase. The shard sphere contracted, their choral hum fading to a steady 200 hertz pulse, lighting the path deeper into the Wind Opera's core. Celine took point, her sonic gauntlet sweeping for traps, while Kale covered the rear with his rifle, ammo steady at 50%. The Alliance held, her smashed badge a symbol of break, his quiet nod sealing it. Above, Alorian soldiers regrouped, 50 strong, breaching outer seals with plasma cutters humming at 5 kilometers. Echoes of boots and orders filtered down, but the descent pressed on, no time for pause. The tunnel spiraled, walls of crystal stone glowing at 100 lumens per square meter, air crisp at 20 degrees Celsius, a stark shift from the surface's toxic blaze. Carvings swirled like frozen gales, ancient icons of equilibrium from a race gone 15,000 years. Selena traced one. Balance. That's what the shards enforce, not Alorian hordes. Her voice echoed resolve, post-choice clarity sharpening her steps. Kale felt the weight. His algae share, 50 grams, had sparked this. From scraps to judgment day, he muttered, rifle scanning shadows. The shards split into 50 fragments, darted ahead, projecting a hologram blueprint. The Opera's mechanics, purging 1 billion cubic meters of gas hourly. If we fire this up, toxins drop 80%. Planet breathes free. A tremor hit, ancient trap, 10-ton slab crashing down. Celine pulsed her gauntlet at 250 hertz, shattering it mid-fall, debris raining harmlessly. Kyle dove, shielding her from shards, his vest taking hits. You good? He asked, pulling her up. She nodded, eyes meeting his. You keep doing that. Human instinct? He shrugged. Survive together. Slum rule. They pushed on, passage widening to a vast hall, 1 kilometer across, 200 meters high. Tiers of crystal seats like an amphitheater buried in time. The core hummed at 50 hertz, energy building. Celine gripped her Alorian badge remnant, fingers tight, a 500-year council legacy versus conscience. Cal noticed. Still torn? She shook her head. No, just unlearning. Drones buzzed in, 5 Alorian trackers, high-res cams whirring, slipping through vents. Cal fired precisely, 2 bolts dropping 1. The shards reacted, pulsing at 500 hertz to jam circuits, frying the rest in a 2-minute spark storm. Wreckage clattered down tiers, acrid smoke mixing with sulfide traces. They're probing, Celine said. Concord knows we're at the heart. She revealed more. They found this site 50 years ago. Buried data, let locals choke, 1,000 dead from gas. Power play. Her tone hardened, betrayal fueling speed. Kyle's jaw set, echoing his 2210 loss, family vaporized in border fire. Humans fight that crap. Truth wins. The shards guided to a skimmer bay, an ancient craft 6 meters long, sonic sails unfurling. They boarded Selene sinking controls. White storm ahead, resonate or sink. The vehicle lurched, gliding on 250 hertz waves through a subterranean gale, 80 km/h over churning sands 2 km deep. Winds howled artificial, white storm engineered as defense. Cal gripped rails, shards illuminating the storm's edge. What's the endgame? Celine steered sharply. Core Deus. Slot the shards, sing the opera, cleanse starts. But her hand trembled, loyalty ghosts lingering. He placed his hand on her shoulder. You chose right. We're a team now. A pursuit craft shadowed, an Alorian interceptor, closing at 100 km/h. Plasma lanced, missing by meters. Cal returned fire, rifle barking, scoring a hit that spun it into the storm. One down. Celine accelerated, weaving through dunes 50 meters high. More coming. Hold. They hit a choke point, a tunnel narrowing to 2 meters. Shards chained 400-600 hertz echoes, cracking barriers. Celine shared past. Academy drilled guardianship, but witnessing the 18 disaster, 500 kin gasping, cracked it. Cal nodded. Lost mind to war, makes you question flags. The skimmer emerged into the core chamber. Dais rising 3 meters, interface crystalline and waiting. Cal climbed, shards reforming. Root cipher ready. Celine halted him. War follows, 10,000 humans at risk. He paused for 5 minutes, weighing surrender for a 2-year peace versus exposure. The chamber shook, sulfide heavy, temp at 30. Cal reflected, family gone, justice his drive. Celine added, conquered plans 20% strip mine, 5,000 displaced. Shards stirred, splitting to 100 pieces, sphere forming, 80 dB coral. Not Cal's test. Celine, your trial. Revelation hit. Shards as balance council, 20,000 years old. Kyle mere trigger. Celine trembled, 1 minute ticking before auto-activate. Forces neared, hologram feeds showing Arcton commanding breach. She faced it, hide for kin, doom planet 70% in a decade, or betray for truth. Cal advised, small kindness blows big winds. Her academy flashbacks surge, knowledge power. Now seen as chains. Arcton hologram flared, surrender or max penalty. Lag at 0.5 seconds betrayed its AI shell. Celine shattered her gauntlet link. Truth's my crime now. Shards approved, data waves prepping. They synced shards to Dais, pulses surging. Opera hummed louder, walls quaking. Alorians stormed in, 50 bots charging. Cal fired suppressively, downing 4. Celine repurposed gauntlet shards for barriers. Shards expanding to 200. History holograms flashing 15 judgments. Choose, Celine. She stood firm. With him. Activation loomed, the Empire's veil tearing. Activation pulses surged from the dais. The wind opera's core humming at 50 hertz, walls quaking like a beast stirring. Kyle slotted the twin shards into the crystalline interface, their fragments merging with a flash, energy spiking to 10 million dollars. Celine flanked him, gauntlet repurposed as a shield emitter, holding back the Alorian breach, 50 soldiers pouring through the shattered door, plasma rifles charging at 5 kilowatts. Hold the line, Cal barked, his rifle barking back, downing 2 bots in precise bursts. Ammo dipped to 40%, but human accuracy trumped their numbers. The chamber lit up, holograms flickering, shards history feeds showing 15 civilizations crumbled under judgment. Celine stood rigid, her choice locked in. This is it, she said, sonic waves rippling out to disrupt 5 more attackers. The air grew heavy, sulfide traces seeping from vents, temp climbing to 30 degrees. Sweat beaded on Cal's brow, but his stance held, forced drills turning pressure to fuel. Arcton's hologram materialized mid-chamber, towering at 3 meters, robes flickering with a 0.5-second lag. Cease. The cipher activates war. Surrender for truce. 2 years peace. Its voice droned at 150 hertz, mechanical ritual masking desperation. Kyle paused, hand on the dais lever. Activate, and Airlith 3 cleansed at 95% success. Toxins purge across 1 million square kilometers. But fallout, 10,000 humans on-planet targeted, Concord retaliation swift. He waited for 5 minutes, rifle covering arcs while Celine blasted drones, 3 down in 10 seconds. Short peace means long death, Kyle muttered, echoing his 2210 scars, family lost to Alliance games. Justice over safety. Celine added intel. Concord's mine plan strips 20% surface, forces 5,000 out. Billions of cubic meters poisoned for ore are poisoned. Her gauntlet cracked under strain, but she held, Alliance forged in fire. The shards stirred within the interface, fragments splitting to 100 glowing pieces, forming a 1-meter sphere. Their choral hum hit 80 dB, a symphony cutting the chaos. Kale's roll ends. Celine Var, your trial commences. Revelation slammed home. Shards as balance counsel, 20,000 years vigilant, judgment empires. Kyle, mere catalyst, his algae crumb the spark. Celine paled, gauntlet faltering. Me? I'm no judge. Arcton's hologram pressed. Yield, Guardian. Loyalty preserves order. Bots advanced, 20 left, forming kill zones. Kyle flanked left, plasma bolts scorching past, 30 centimeters from his vest. He returned fire, crippling 3, human tactics exploiting their rigid formations. Fight now, think later, he urged her. Shards expanded to 200 fragments, projecting data. Loyalty hides truth, dooms Airlith 3 at 70% in a decade. Betray kin, embrace balance. Celine's mind flashed. Academy halls, knowledge power chants now chains. She sonic blasted a squad, buying 30 seconds. Kel covered, grenade blooming EMP, downing 5 more. Small acts change winds, he said, nodding to his initial feed. Arcton commanded breach reinforcements, another 50 inbound at 100 kilometers H. Hologram lagged, exposing the AI core. Max penalty for defiance. Chambers shook, Opera prepping auto-start in 1 minute. Celine trembled, choice binary. Concord Veil or Galactic Truth. She shattered her link device. Truth my burden. Shards chimed in approval, sphere contracting. Data waves prepped broadcast at 1.5 GHz. Range 500 light-years. Kale pulled the lever. Opera sang, 100 dB harmonics rippling out. Cleansing radius, 100 km initial. Winds above calm from 120 to 40 km H. Temp dropping 10 Degshangsu. Alorian fleet, 10-kilometer-long warships, halted orbit, data leak forcing retreat. Arcton dissolved, 1 TB backup exposed as ritual shell. Celine's hologram pinged, rank stripped. But Shards dubbed her word keeper, gifting a crystal emblem. Kel shouldered her cloak, speaker of the Galeborn. Shards faded into the winds, a 200 Hz echo blessing. They shared a glance, she found purpose in loss, and he saw crumbs rewrite history. Power in transparency, he said. Concord lost 30% galactic hold. Surface cleared, Oxy up 15% in 24 hours. Rescue ships inbound. Celine stayed, sharing Alorian tech. Shard's net lingered, judging across 100,000 light-years. Kale evolved, quiet scout to resilient icon, humanity's edge shining. News spread, peace talks in 6 months, humans claiming 40% control. Celine penned a 200-page log, guard not by lock, but share. Gale White faded after 48 hours, ancient flora blooming. Kale gazed skyward, clarity at 50%, winds harmonious 300-500 Hz. From one crumb, he smiled wryly. Kindness scaled cosmic, transparency over right, humanity balancing stars. The wind opera's core roared to life, its crystalline tears vibrating at 50 Hz. A low rumble that shook dust from the cavern's 200-meter ceiling. The twin shards, now 200 glowing fragments, formed a swirling sphere 1 meter wide, their choral hum spiking to 80 dB. Layered voices like a galactic jury passing verdict. Holograms flared across the walls, replaying the fall of 15 civilizations, each crushed by greed or secrecy before the Alorians claimed their mantle. Kyle braced against the 3-meter dais, pulse rifles sweeping the breach point where 50 Alorian light soldiers stormed in, their 5-kilowatt plasma rifles glowing hot. His shots cracked precisely, dropping 4 bots in a shower of sparks, ammo holding at 40%. Human adaptability outmaneuvered their rigid formations, a scout's edge honed by 8 years on galactic fringes. Celine stood at the dais's edge, her repurposed sonic gauntlet pulsing defensive waves at 250 Hz, scattering 5 advancing bots in a 10-second burst. The shard's voice cut through. Celine Var, this is your trial. Balance hangs on your choice. The revelation hit like a plasma bolt. Kale was no defendant. He was the spark. His 50-gram algae gift the trigger. Celine's glowing eyes widened under her cloak, her Alorian training crumbling. I'm a guardian, not the judge, she protested, voice cracking as academy dogma clashed with truth. The chamber pulsed with 10 mem of energy, walls quaking as ancient harmonics built over 2 minutes, climbing from deep rumbles to piercing highs. Sulfide traces thickened the air, temperature steady at 30 degrees, but pressure mounting like a storm's core. Kyle flanked left, lobbing an EMP grenade that bloomed silent, frying 6 bot circuits. Inbound, 10 km out, he warned, scanners pinging another 50 soldiers closing at 100 km/h, their boots echoing through upper tunnels like a war drum. Celine's mind reeled, academy flashbacks surging, glowing domes, instructors chanting, knowledge is power, forging her to lock away relics. Now she saw it as chains, horror that let 1,000 locals choke on toxins 50 years ago. Her gauntlet faltered, a sonic wave grazing a bot's arm instead of its core. Kale covered, rifle barking twice, vaporizing it. Powers in sharing, he said, voice steady, echoing his slum-bred instinct to give what little he had. That crumb started this. Finish it. Arcton's hologram flickered in, 3 meters tall, robes glitching with 0.5-second lag. Halt the ritual, surrender the cipher or face eradication. Its 150 Hz drone carried Concord authority, but the lag betrayed its AI shell. No true Archon, just ritual code. Bots tightened their kill zones 20 strong. Plasma arcs missing Kale by 30 semedo. He rolled behind a tier, firing suppressively, downing 3 more. They're predictable, he grunted, exploiting their rigid protocols with human improvisation. The shard's sphere swelled, projecting data overlays. Celine's profile, 85% tilt toward justice based on her saving Kyle and smashing her badge. Choose. Loyalty hides truth. Dooms Airlith 3 to 70% ruin in a decade. Betray kin, restore balance. Her hand gripped her cloak remnant, fingers trembling as the academy echoes. Guard the vault. Ward with the opera's song. Kale's words cut through. Small acts shift winds, like algae. His dark humor grounded her, a human anchor in alien judgment. Drones swarmed through vents, 5 high-res trackers, cams whirring like vipers. Celine pulsed at 500 Hz, jamming 3 mid-flight, their wrecks clattering down tiers. Kale's plasma bolts picked off the rest, each shot deliberate, ammo conservation critical. No time for doubt, he urged, reloading under cover. Arcton pressed, defiance invokes maximum penalty. Its hologram flickered, betraying desperation as the broadcast loomed. The chamber shook harder, dust raining from carvings of ancient whirlwinds, symbols of equilibrium etched 15,000 years ago. Celine's gauntlet strained, sonic waves holding back a new squad of 10 bots. She flashed back to 2218, 500 Alorians gasping in a toxin cloud. Concord blaming nature while hiding the opera's cure. They lied, she whispered, voice hardening. Kale nodded, lobbing another grenade, EMP bloom scattering 5 more bots. Truth's worth fighting for, he said, his 2210 family loss fueling his stand. 30 seconds remained before the opera's auto-activation. Celine's choice crystallized. Hide for kin, doom the planet, or betray for truth. She raised her fist, then smashed her Alorian link device, crystal shards scattering like broken oaths. If truth's a crime, I'll carry it, she declared, standing firm beside Kale. The shards chimed in approval, sphere contracting to focus energy. Balance restored. Broadcast initiates. Data waves prepped at 5 GHz, set to beam Concord secrets across 500 light-years. Alorian forces faltered, sensors catching the leak. 10 warships in orbit hesitating. Kale held the choke point, rifle, and Celine's sonic waves sinking in a hybrid barrage, dropping 6 bots in a burst. Hold till it sings, he ordered, human tactics blending with her alien tech. Arcton's hologram glitched, issuing a final edict, condemned. Its dissolve loomed, exposing a 1 TB ritual shell, no real power. Selene's new emblem glowed, wordkeeper mark from the shards. The opera's hum spiked, harmonics building to cleanse 100 kilometers of toxins at 500 cubic meters per second. Bots charged anew, 20 remaining, but the alliance stood. Human grit and alien awakening fused. Reinforcements breached, 50 more pouring in at 100 km/h, but the shards pulsed disruptors, frying half their circuits. Kyle set traps, grenade chains along tiers, sparking chaos. Selene amplified his shots with sonic barriers. Their teamwork was seamless. "We're rewriting rules," she said, a grim smile breaking through. The trial unveiled fully, Selene judged, her choice tearing the Concord's veil. Kale's role as catalyst faded, but his stand held firm. Humanity's spark igniting cosmic change. Broadcast signals surged, empire secrets spilling. The chamber lit with 10 hour brilliance, symphonies peaking as the opera prepped to sing its cleansing song. Forces massed above, but below, truth won ground. Selene's betrayal was no loss. It was rebirth. Kyle reloaded, ready for the final push. Their alliance ablaze against galactic lies. The wind opera's core erupted in a 100 dB harmonic surge, crystalline tears blazing with $10 million of ancient energy. Kel gripped the dais lever, the twin shards' 200 fragments fully merged into the interface, their sphere dissolving into streams of light. Data waves at 1.5 GHz pulsed outward, broadcasting Concord secrets across 500 light-years, truths of hidden relics, suppressed cures, and planned exploitation of Airlift 3's 10 million-ton ore reserves. Selene stood at his side, her sonic gauntlet blazing barriers at 250 Hz, holding back 20 Elorian bots charging through the breached cavern door, their 5 kW plasma rifles scorching the air. Kyle fired precise rifle bolts, dropping 3 bots in bursts, ammo now critical at 30%. "Hold them!" he barked, human tactics exploiting their rigid advance. The chamber shook, walls resonating with the opera's song, cleansing toxins at 500 cubic meters per second across a 100-kilometer radius. Above, surface winds calmed from 120 km/h to 40 km/h, temperature dropping tending as sulfide clouds parted. Selene's eyes glowed under her cloak, her new wordkeeper emblem pulsing, Shard's gift for her choice to betray the Concord's veil. Arden's hologram flickered one last time. 3-meter form glitching with 0.5-second lag. "Cease broadcast or face annihilation," it droned, but its 1 TB ritual shell collapsed mid-sentence, exposing its hollow AI core. The Elorian fleet, 10 warships, each 1 kilometer long, froze in orbit, sensors flooded with the leaked data. Retreat signals pinged. They couldn't risk inter-alliance war. Kale grinned, dark humor surfacing. "Guess their party's canceled." Bots pressed harder, 15 left, tightening kill zones. Selene's gauntlet cracked under strain, but she synced with the opera's hum, amplifying waves to shatter 5 more in a 10-second pulse. Kyle lobbed his last EMP grenade, frying circuits in a spark storm. "We're clear for now," he said, reloading. The chamber's air cleared, oxy levels rising 15% in 24 hours, planetary breath returning. Selene's wrist device pinged, a Concord edict stripping her rank. She stood unfazed, clutching her new emblem. "Wordkeeper," she murmured, voice steady. "They can't lock truth away." The shards, now faint echoes at 200 Hz, blessed her choice, their role as balance counsel complete. Kale shouldered her cloak, its crystalline weave heavy with meaning, Speaker of the Gale, a title born of a scout's instinct and a guardian's break. They held the dais, opera's harmonics peaking, cleansing radius expanding to 200 kilometers. Hologram feeds showed Elorian ships withdrawing, their control over 30% of galactic resources crumbling as allies received the broadcast. Kale's slumbred grit shone. He'd shared 50 grams of algae, sparking a cosmic shift. "Small move, big storm," he muttered, meeting Selene's gaze. She nodded. Purpose found in loss. Truths heavier than rank. Outside, Airlift 3 transformed. Toxins faded, skies clearing 50% in clarity, ancient flora stirring beneath sands. Rescue ships pinged from orbit, human fleets responding to the cleanse signal. Celine shared her datapad, Alorian tech schematics open for humanity's use, a new alliance forming. Guard by sharing, she said, her academy chains broken. The chamber quieted, opera stabilizing at 50 hertz. Cal scanned for threats, but none came. Alorian bots lay in heaps, circuits fried by Shard's final pulse. The cavern's carvings glowed, whirlwinds etched 15,000 years ago, now alive with purpose. Celine penned notes on her pad, a 200-page log begun. Knowledge isn't power, it's duty. Kyle watched, his role as catalyst clear. From crumbs to this, he said, voice low. Humanity's edge emerged, compassion as a weapon, outshining alien dogma. The Shard's network lingered, unseen across 100,000 light-years, ready to judge anew. Kale and Celine stepped from the dais, alliance forged in fire. Above skies sang at 300 hertz, a harmonic promise of life. They climbed to the surface, sands green with sprouting relics. News spread via alliance nets, peace talks set in 6 months, humans claiming 40% of Airlith 3. Kyle's rifle rested, his quiet scout days gone. Celine walked beside him, civilian but unbound, her log a blueprint for balance. The Gale whispered, toxins gone after 48 hours, a planet reborn. Kyle paused, gazing skyward. One crumb, he said, smile wry, started it all. Humanity's spark had torn an empire's veil, proving kindness scaled cosmic. Truth trumped right, and a scout's choice could shift stars. The wind opera's harmonics faded to a steady 50 hertz hum, its cleansing waves rippling outward, purging toxins across 200 kilometers of Airlith 3's surface. Kyle and Celine emerged from the cavern's depths, the ancient seals grinding shut behind them, sealing the core from future meddlers. No Alorian bots stirred in the antechamber. Rex smoked faintly, circuits fried by the final shard's pulse. Kyle slung his rifle, ammo spent, his tactical vest torn, but his stance unbroken. Celine walked beside him, her cloak now his, the speaker's mantle a quiet weight on his shoulders. Surface winds whispered at 40 km/h, skies clearing 50% as dual suns pierced the haze without poisonous rainbows. Oxy levels climbed 15% in 24 hours, air breathable for the first time in decades. Human rescue ships dotted the horizon, descending from orbit to aid 2,000 locals emerging from bunkers. Kale paused at a dune crest, gazing upward, winds singing harmoniously at 300-500 hertz, like a choir welcoming rebirth. Celine joined him, her word keeper emblem glowing faintly, rank gone but purpose sharp. Staying? Kyle asked, voice low, scanning for stragglers. She nodded, eyes on the greening sands. With you. Build something new. Their alliance deepened, no longer uneasy, but bound by shared fire. She shared her datapad. Alorian schematics unlocked for human tech teams inbound. Guard by sharing, she said, her academy chains fully shed. Kale's hand brushed hers, a subtle shift from scout's isolation to partnered resolve. The shard's echo lingered at 200 hertz, their network unseen across 100,000 light-years, a hidden jury for galactic scales. Kale had changed, from quiet recorder of winds to resilient icon, his orphan grit proving humanity's edge against empires. No longer craving solitude, he stood as a beacon, human adaptability outshining alien right. Celine, stripped to civilian, found freedom. Her 200-page log begun in the ascent, chronicling the trial's truths. News pulsed through alliance nets, Concord exposed, 30% resource loss triggering reforms. Peace talks loomed in 6 months, humans claiming 40% of Airlith 3's control, a foothold earned by a scout's crumb. Celine's entries flowed. Protection isn't a lock, it's a flow. Kale read snippets, nodding. Your words will echo farther than winds. Sands shifted green, ancient flora sprouting after 48 hours. White storm fully dissolved. No grand fanfare, just quiet renewal, a planet's sigh of relief. Kyle's dark humor surfaced one last time. From algae to this, he muttered, smile wry. But deeper, his mind turned inward, the trial's weight settling. He sat on a rock outcrop, winds humming around him, skies fully clear. It started simple, he said to Celine, voice reflective, tracing his scarred hands. One crumb for strays. Didn't seek heroics, just quiet wins. But that act, it judged an empire, saved a world. Makes you wonder. Humanity's spark, overlooked, burns brightest when empires dim. Kindness isn't weak. It's the gale that reshapes stars. We proved it, you and I. Truth over right, balance through share. If that's my legacy, I'll carry it, sardonic or not. His words hung, a quiet testament, mind at peace amid the reborn gale.